already. All right, we seem to have a quorum already.
Oh, look at that. All right.
So let's get let's get this thing going. Dinosaurs. That the Jurassic World came in the words of David Bowie. Who needs TV when I have T-Rex?
Well,
Uh,
wow. There you go. Very
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
as sung by Mott the Hoople. The it's not box office friends notes. Dave, it's not notes David
That's
Bowie, but
true.
very true.
Yeah.
So what do you think? 5 day at 147.
47.
What?
Yeah, this is the rebirth, Richard. This is the first movie in a new trilogy of films. That the old one just ended 3 years ago, so it's
Mhm.
good. I mean, it's not amazing. It's again, you kind of want to the distance makes the heart grow fonder here, Richard. Isn't part of the equation. Where the first trilogy that came back, there was 14 years between the first trilogy, the second trilogy. That was only 3 years between the second trilogy and the third trilogy.
So
So
honestly, like, so I work in this business writing about
go ahead, but
entertainment
yeah,
and film,
yeah,
and I cover this. I pay a lot of attention to this.
I know. Yes.
I watch every trailer.
Hmm.
I had no idea until you said it this second that
Hmm.
one trilogy had ended and another one has begun. That's
It just kind of in doing my breakdown for the wake up yesterday. That was really the first time I really dove into the minutia here, Richard. And this was the 5 days after the movie had opened. So agreed on that. But I'm trying to get the fans' perspective. As you and I both said, I think we both seen the original and probably maybe one since. I don't know. So we're not exactly.
I mean, I think I've seen all of them. I couldn't tell
Oh,
you
well,
what.
then it would be
Yeah,
more embarrassing for you then, because I know I just
yeah.
I have an excuse, but
No, but
yeah.
I I couldn't tell you what the last movie was about. Like the
Right. Where did it leave off? Right,
or the one
exactly.
before that or the one before that. Like
Yeah, yeah,
Chris Pratt, dinosaurs running around.
right,
He's the guy who's nice to dinosaurs, and other people want to be mean to them.
right. And now
Um,
it's Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson. We have new people in, so yeah, yeah. But again, the total. The 5 day, the last one's open on a 3 day, so the comps are a little off here, and in terms of like trying to figure out how this is doing. But I will say the cinema score was a B, and the last two had A minuses, and the trilogy had an A in 2015. So we'll see. I'm honestly more curious about the legs here, Richard, because we also have Superman coming up on Thursday night, and you
yeah,
could tell me a narrative when we're talking on Monday that this movie takes a pretty big hit for A, not having IMAX, and a lot of that is Superman's taking all of an F1 had it this weekend, and B, that Superman could suck up a lot of oxygen here in terms of being the movie to go see in July kind of thing. Where if, that's my kind of like it's not this weekend's fine. It's more I'm more curious to see how this goes. Is more of my takeaway from it, Richard.
which if you look at F1, Superman, and Jurassic Park in 3 weeks, which one of those is going to be in the top three still?
Yeah, because F1, which we can talk about, but so it held down pretty well. It kind of already it's 2x its opening weekend. 54% drop, which is fine, but it did a lot of midweek business. And IMAX is 25% of the box office there in the U.S., Richard.
I
So
mean, that's what you always look for in I mean, a lot of films open big. A
right,
lot of films get $300 million.
that's the easy part, Richard.
$300
Exactly.
million
Yeah.
dollars is cheap these days. But you're used to in summer these movies that are giant and then just keep going and going
Yeah.
and going and
Yeah.
just like Sam.
Week 5, still in the top 5. Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and the way Minecraft did earlier in the
Yeah.
year,
Yep. And
which
Sinners
was
for that matter too. Yeah.
yeah, and Lilo and Stitch,
Yep. Sure.
but that's kind of the list of films that have done that this year.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, you look back to like Mission Impossible, which again opened big on Memorial Day, but I haven't heard anybody talk about that movie in a month at this point. So
yeah,
that one didn't have that narrative of like, oh, it's the movie. It did fine. It's not, I mean, fine for Mission Impossible, not for the money they spent on it, but yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned that Doug Kent doesn't have that lasting effect where a lot of the Jurassic movies before definitely did, especially in the last trilogy again as well. Those lasted for quite a few weeks, so they all opened. I think the second
yeah,
weekend in June. This is a different beat here, Richard.
and the word of mouth gets out about it, and they
Yep.
just blow away
You got to go see this Dino Shark or whatever.
and
Whatever. Yeah.
whatever the competitor is, they just knock
Yeah.
it
Roll
down
it over.
and keep going. And yeah, we we really haven't. I mean, really, just in terms of like the top end of the box office this year, it's been Lilo. Sorry,
Lilo, sorry.
I'm very
You'll
sorry.
get there eventually, Richard.
Um, yeah, don't tell my children I said that.
Exactly.
Uh,
But yeah,
uh,
Minecraft, Lilo, yeah.
Lilo and Minecraft are the. I mean that I guess that's my. Got to find something to be cranky about on a
Sure,
weekend on a
please.
movie opener, right? That I mean, you just look at the annual box office, and it's like at the top end of the giant performers. It's kind of Minecraft and Lilo is the year there.
Yeah, so far, I mean, that's exactly right. The first half of the year, certainly. Now we're obviously in the back half here in July. So
Yeah, I mean
um,
we're deep into the summer.
this
Most
is
of
the heart. This is Superman, and this is what we're waiting for all year. This is the big
yeah,
1-2 punch here that was coming,
mo-
and
most of
here
the
we are.
giant summer movies are out.
Well, I say after
A
Superman
few
hits, I
left.
would say, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But
Then yeah, no,
um,
it's true, but again, I think your point. Again, we'll see if this does. Well, in 3 weeks, will this still be doing 15, 20 million a week? I don't know. But again, that B cinema score isn't great. I think Superman could suck up a lot of oxygen here. Is it going to be? It's fine for Universal the way they spend 180 million, which is relative for this kind of movie. They'll be fine financially, but the past three films, Richard, all crossed $1 billion globally, and that those movies had those legs you just talked about. And I'll be very curious to see if this one, can leg it out, so to speak, for Jurassic. So,
yeah. That
you
said,
know,
what is this? The eighth go around of Jurassic since?
seven. So, but I thought it was seven. So we have three trilogies, two trilogies. This is the third trilogy. So seven. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, given that there's like no story or characters that carry over from film to film, there's something Steven Spielberg discovered that is just sort of elemental about sitting in the
yeah,
dark and watching dinosaurs running amok. That just
yeah. And works
it's
globally. It works globally, Richard.
yeah, and it's still just you've seen it now six
Seven
times
times,
before,
right? It's like,
but it's still. I mean, I see a big dinosaur coming out of the ocean, and you're like, oh wow, that looks fun.
yeah. Yeah, people are still excited to see it back, so to speak. Where sometimes you're like, you didn't wear out your welcome. I don't think it's definitely not the takeaway from this weekend at all. Where there's still some life left in this franchise for Universal. So yeah, dinosaurs, Richard. Who knew? But
Yeah,
but it's funny because so that was it 318 million global, and F1, which is doing well, but that's after 10 days is only at 294 million global. So it's like just to kind of categorize how big Jurassic is compared to F1, which is rightfully being seen as a justified hit, and obviously it doesn't have six movies behind it going in, but just to see where the levels are at this point. But F1 still, it feels like it has that momentum. People seem to like it. The Rotten Tomatoes is still at 97. Like, I think this is back to that word of mouth hit you're talking about, Richard. This
yeah,
does have the earmarks of like this is the one that will have the legs probably through. I mean, July. We'll see what the IMAX goes away on Thursday with Superman, which is one part of it. But you could also see IMAX bringing this back on a dead week, in August or something like that too, kind of
yeah.
thing. So,
The
um,
yeah, I mean, F1. It is something. There's no other movie out there that looks like that.
yeah, yep,
And it's something that that has a real case of why you have to see it on the big screen and
totally,
why this is an event here. So,
yeah.
um, for an original film, it's done pretty good there. So,
No, that's the near 300 million. And curiously, like it's doing two-thirds of that business overseas, Richard. So again, that
yeah,
F1 brand is really, which is a global sport, and they emphasize that a lot. So that's really, where most films it's maybe 60-40, sometimes 50-50. Like we're going almost 30-70 in terms of US to international so far on this,
yeah,
Richard. So it's again that global hit that Apple's finally has something, Richard. It's the highest grossing Apple film ever. We should also give
All right.
a credit to that. So congratulations to our friends at
And number
Apple.
two, what was number two?
Napoleon was I think 270, maybe 270, something like that. So that was the
Okay,
second highest grossing. So
they chopped them. They chopped the emperor.
Exactly.
Napoleon.
Good point. You just can't catch a break, Richard. This is
Yeah.
tough. You know, it's
The,
tough for Napoleon.
um, by the way, we don't say this enough, but if you're here in the audience and you have questions, comments
Oh
for us,
yes, of course.
please throw them at us. Right, send your messages in. We
Richard
do
looks
it.
at the comments there, and we'll surface it for us here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do want to
S-
mention your Easter egg, Richard. You found Don Simpson. I think
oh
that
yeah,
was,
yeah.
we should mention
See,
this.
speaking of F1, so that was actually sent to me by a tipster
Oh,
in the movie by a good friend Jim Gibson, who noted in the movie Brad Pitt sort of gazes forlornly at several points
yes,
at this picture in a little leather frame of him and his father,
yeah,
and on close inspection, a friend snapped a picture of the screen there, and
right.
on close inspection, the father does appear to be. We have not confirmed this, but we've looked at many pictures of a bearded Don Simpson, former partner of Jerry Bruckheimer,
Yep, yep. It
and
was pretty
produced.
uncanny evidence of the photos you had in there, but there was very little doubt in my mind, at least, that Don Simpson, Jerry snuck his old producing partner in there for one little homage, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I wonder what Brad Pitt was thinking as he was gazing
yeah,
at the
right.
picture of
Him and
uh,
yeah, a young Brad and Don. Yeah, exactly. I think
who was known as a combustible talent in his day.
I think that's
Yeah.
one way to put it for sure. But
um, the anyway, going down it the charts there. How to Train
yeah,
Your Dragon is at number 3 this week after how many weeks is that? 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
fourth weekend, I
4 weeks.
think. Yeah, that was so again.
So
That one's playing out, Richard, pretty well. Still doing over, doing $11 million here in the week four.
yeah,
So
so half a billion worldwide. How do
yeah,
we feel about that? Launching a
yeah. I
live
mean,
action.
again, people who have seen it, I think you saw it, right, as well, or no?
I have not seen it. I've been on the
You did not
ride.
see it. Okay.
I've gone on the Dragon ride, which I'm told is which my son said is very similar to the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, also
So
very similar to the animated movie. So this is, again, kind of cut and paste. They have, I think, two more coming. So this bodes well for them, certainly. If it ain't broke, Richard, I think is kind of the takeaway there. Again, taking the Disney playbook there, just taking the animated, doing the live action, and vice versa. So
we have a question here. Let's
yeah.
get back to it. Peter Forbes asks, "Are we now back to a more normal pre-COVID, pre-strike theatrical state? It's encouraging to see people are willing to go to theaters if there are movies um, they want to see instead of just staying home. I say we're not. I say we are in strike fallout here, and that we still are looking at a very light lineup, and that this is kind of where the strike movies would have where the movies that were delayed by the strike
Mm,
would have been, and especially in the mid to smaller budget ones. Those are the ones I think you're going to see that a lot at in Oscar season. That it is a lighter
mm,
lineup because of the strike hit.
mm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, on an annual basis, I think you're 100% right. From a 2025 point of view, yeah, this is going to be another year where we're not quite back yet. Again, that is 100% strike related. The first 4 months of this year was the desert, and as we're seeing. But I think we're really, back to your point. We've talked about it, where it's, we've been one a week, right? And it was like it's not two, we're not none. We never even wrote dark weeks, but it was only like you had one movie. It was, we had Lilo and Mission Impossible was the only real like kind of big twofer that we had. Then we've got a few more now, Richard. I think that's so. I'm seeing a little more. Then we have Smurfs, and I know what you did last summer coming up against each other. There's a Freaky Friday and Naked Gun on the same weekend, so we're getting some more twofers in the mix here. So I think this is playing out. Maybe you're at this exact moment. I'm feeling a little more like I think we're getting back to that. I don't know if that's ever gonna. I mean, I guess what's your comp that you're looking at? You're talking about 28, pre-COVID times, Richard. I guess is what
Okay,
like if
so
that's.
I'm looking at I still remain dissatisfied with this box office, and I don't know how you, but I look at it and I say at the bottom to middle, the lineup is very thin, and
Yes, agreed, agreed.
you just are not having a lot of releases. You're not having a big enough mix of releases. There's just not there. There should be a steady diet of all kinds of things for people to choose from, and you'd be having more breakout hits. And at the top of the lineup, I see you got two movies that got to a billion, and you've got a lot of things, and then you've got a lot of kind of disappointments and underperformers below that. And doesn't feel like it. This doesn't feel great to me. Still, it feels like, uh,
Yeah,
and we keep saying, "Hey, look, Jurassic did well. We're back. It's all okay now."
yeah,
Uh, and I think there's a bigger problem here. We can argue about what to attribute it to, but
right,
I,
right.
I I attribute it mostly to a light release schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in a sense, the only thing, and again, when I'm in the wake up, I kind of track all the things are being, what's being sold, what things are, what project being bought, and I'm maybe having a little more forward looking, where I think you're very much in the present, as what the question is asking, of course. Where I'm looking at, I think, like I'm being more too. A Naked Gun is a big, that can kick off comedy again. I'm like, all right, comedies are starting to be bought. There's a Vince Vaughn comedy next year. Like a few things like that are coming back. Colleen Hoover did wonders for the kind of the adult drama romance. There's a lot of she alone has 2 or 3 films next year. The thrillers, Amazon's coming in next year with 15. And all those are original for the most part. It's outside of like Masters of the Universe, and a lot of them are. We saw a few at CinemaCon this year, movies,
No,
with thrillers. And then so I think you're right now, but movies are obviously not, they happen in a vacuum. There's a 2 year, as you said, it takes a while to work through. So yeah, I think you're probably, we're not quite there. Maybe a little more optimistic than you are where we are at the moment. I see, the enthusiasm is back. But I'm looking ahead to what's on the slate. I'm like, I see a little more light going. Is it ever going to be back to the 3 or 4 movies a weekend? Like, I don't know if that's ever going to be something we'll see again, which would be what that 2018, 2017 world was, Richard. So, it's always going to be something new, in the end, no matter what. And nothing stays static anymore. But
yeah. All
so
right,
anyway,
let's
all
keep
right.
going down the lineup here. So
All
next
right,
up,
your buddy Elio there, Richard.
yeah.
Just not
So
happening. I'm sorry.
yeah, on the third week now, 50 up to 55 million. So the word of mouth that we were hoping would be ignited does not seem to be catching fire here,
No, and
which
yeah,
makes us which makes us wonder why do we ever talk about the cinema score thing, because this was a on cinema score indicating that well, the opening was soft, but word of mouth would be taking
there's
off.
no
And
guarantees of that, Richard. It's just, this is probably more of an indicator of something that's bad. Will be that again. That's why the B is a little more indicative on maybe Jurassic than an A would be on Elio. Where like, all right, people maybe didn't really like this kind of thing. But the thing on Elio to note is that, I mean, it's done back to the U.S. versus international, Richard. 2/3 of its business is in the U.S., 1/3 is internationally. This thing is flatlining. And you look at Elemental, that's reversed. So that did
yeah,
2/3 of his business overseas and 1/3 in the U.S. So it's just, it's just, this is not translating to other cultures or whatever. I mean, it's aliens who would think, whatever. But as you said, it had some plot issues, which I think are just, I just don't, as much as the word of mouth is, I'm not sure you're bringing your kid to come see the movie where, the kid's parents are no longer
yeah.
with us, so to speak.
I
So,
Yeah, I mean, I continue to believe that that's a big part of the problem here. But
yeah, I think that was just and then there's been pieces about, the development of the movie was been through a lot of different, which happens for a lot of Pixar films of different, ideas and testing and things like that. So, but that was just not
yeah,
gonna, that's gonna be in the L column there for Disney and Pixar, Richard.
yeah.
Uh,
Next
anything else
up,
of note here?
28 years later, which I don't know, some say disappointment. 125 million worldwide for a horror movie doesn't seem the end of the world. What do you
No,
think?
it's it'll be a little over 2x, a multiple of what it opened. It opened big. They opened that movie hands down, which is great. But I back to the word of mouth on that. And when I liked it, it's intense, but there's a lot in that movie where I'm like, you could probably do like, oh man, that's there's some scenes in that I'm like, okay, you're in for it. That I think people may have a little bit may have turned off some people being like, yeah, I'm not going to save rush out to see that movie. So that's apparently what kind of happened. Sony's relatively fine here, but again, this has another one coming out in January, which is really going to be as a marketer at heart, Richard. I will be curious to see how they sell this to get people back and what that opens to in January. So.
And whether it gets them the money to complete
And more importantly, yes, the
the
third
trilogy,
movie that they still haven't
the
shot.
third movie of the trilogy or the fifth movie of the series, however
A lot of trilogies today, Richard. A lot of trilogies
you're
today.
counting.
Yeah,
Let's just here's a rule I'd like to suggest to
please.
everyone in Hollywood. Just make one movie at a time. It's it, it's hard enough to launch one movie and make that successful. Just
Don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah,
put everything you get into it, and then it goes
just
well. We'll get
you'll
back
figure it
together
out later.
and we'll
Yeah,
talk. And
yeah, we'll talk.
I'm sure if it goes well, people will be open for more of it. But if it doesn't go well,
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to say, oh, but that's part two of a trilogy. So
right.
you
Yeah,
got to
come back, come pay us
all the
again.
all the all
Another
the people who
15
didn't
bucks.
come to part two, they're waiting to see if they're going to get to see what happened in part three.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
just make one movie at a time.
We call it maybe the Horizon lesson, Richard. We haven't seen part two of that either from Mr. Costner there, so that one's still
Oh
waiting
yeah,
for.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that too. So yeah, a few
that's
of
right.
these coming out, yeah, with like teaser offers at
Horizon was
the box office.
isn't Horizon a four-part series?
I think he envisioned
That,
three eventually. The
yeah.
second part, I think, was shot. I don't know. I really don't know, Richard. That's it's been a little while now since we've had any talk about that franchise going on. So
Yeah.
interesting
Uh,
to go on.
Adam
Uh,
asks, speaking of horror, he
yeah,
says,
please.
if I Know What You Did opens above the tracking, will this be officially the summer of millennial horror? Oh, good point. Uh, thanks to Bloodlines. There.
Yeah,
What do
for
you think?
Final Destination.
Yeah,
Yeah, I consulted. We have a in-house horror expert here, the Angler, and this was I I haven't heard great things about this, but that they heard that there's excitement for this movie. But if it does hit and if it does take off, I mean, yeah, you can make that. What else we gotten from 20 years ago, guys, in the vaults to. I mean, Sony has an urban legend, thing in development. Sony's got a lot of things in development from the vault there. But yeah, what else do we have from the turn of the millennium, Richard, to bring back
it
to
was.
theaters here?
What did Scream? I Know What You Did Last
Well,
Summer.
Scream's been going, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Scream never stopped, and
Uh,
then the parody of Scream, the scary
which is
movie
also
Scream.
a scary movie, which is also coming back. So yeah, maybe I think
Uh,
yeah, it's a good comment there. That's actually we're onto something there for sure.
Blair Witch is
Blair Witch
sitting
would
there
be tough. Yeah, yeah,
when
some
the
landscape, but
yeah, that's been a little controversial. The program. Well, speaking of horror, then next up is Megan 2.0, which
yeah. Yeah, just I mean, if I had told you, Rich, so the first one made 180 million dollars worldwide. If I had told
yeah,
you that this movie would not even probably hit 40 million before this summer started, I mean, just
I
kind
would
of
have been
nuts.
very shocked, especially having seen the trailer, which
Right.
looked looked
No
very
red
good.
flags of yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh, just kind of
TW
baffling. This is
Judd,
I don't know.
um, yeah, I mean, Jason Blum did a kind of public mea culpa on that, saying,
Yeah,
yeah, I think what was we treated her like she was Superman, like
yeah,
was a big
yeah,
thing, and not selling the scary. So,
yeah.
um,
Lesson learned, but
my
it's rare that it doesn't make this is going to lose money. Like a Blumhouse movie may not make some of them just kind of even out. Like this one's not even going to make its money back. Like that's very rare for a Blum, theatrically speaking, for a Blumhouse movie. So
so my lesson continues to be you can take nothing for granted in
that
movies today.
proves
That's
exactly right. Yeah,
that
yeah,
why I say again, make every movie like it's your last.
yeah,
There is no automatic like we just turn on the Megan machine and the audience comes back. Uh,
yeah.
that you have to convince people to see your movie. and I'm not sure why they weren't convinced by this. I haven't seen it yet, but they
I,
were.
I
So
enjoyed it, but but it's just it's dramatic. It's definitely one of the bigger narratives of the summer that's going to emerge out of it, and more unfortunately the negative column. But if you're going to, uh, uh, but just pretty again, if I had told you that, we were doing our conversation at the start of May about what's looking good this summer, it's like this was nowhere anywhere near
mm.
where anyone would be thinking at this point. So just one of those
uh,
mysteries of the box office, Richard. But
yeah.
b- b-
Uh, Going down, yeah, one of our big ones of the year, our biggest movie of the year, Lilo and Stitch, continues to rake it in, pushing at becoming our first $1 billion movie.
$1 billion, yeah, that'll be next week. $1 billion, yeah.
Final,
Yeah,
the first movie of this year to cross a billion. Uh,
right. Minecraft came close. Yeah.
yeah, in the olden days, how long did it take us to get $1 billion movie? When did we typically see
Oh, in the year? Oh
our
man.
first
Ugh.
pre-COVID, pre-strike,
Yeah, I know. I'm
all
like,
sorts of things? I mean,
back when we used to have a full calendar, Richard. I can't even remember when we had actually a
yeah,
full.
I mean, but it feels like by May something would have.
Well, something generally either in February, which was a Marvel slot for a while, or there's always a big March movie, that generally could get up
Yeah,
there. Yeah, it's to have it be the Memorial Day movie is definitely not great. But
yeah. I
again,
mean,
the first 4 months of this year were just
okay,
strike affected desert. But
but we are looking at a scenario entirely possible. We'll see what happens. We'll see how things go. But the year
mm,
could end up with one barely $1 billion movie, and then we'll see about Avatar.
well, Avatar, yeah, yeah, and yeah, Wicked. Yeah, I don't know. I have
And
to
we'll see
see what that
about
one did last, but Wicked could be Wicked 2, I should say, would be
Wicked
could
One
be up there.
was not a
Was
billion
not a
dollar
billion
movie.
dollars, but you could if that again became something you had to go see or something, you can convince me
Yeah,
that. But yeah,
yeah, could be. I mean,
last
I would say after Superman, those are the two hopes for
and
on
Superman,
the
we'll see.
calendar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, I would agree. That's probably well that and yes, Downton Abbey, of course, Richard. You're missing out. How could you forget? What are you talking about?
the
Terrible.
Fathom re-release of Conclave
Yeah,
will
exactly.
get us there.
Well,
Uh,
all right, let's finish out with that, Richard. With our friends at Fathom there. Spinal Tap was back, Richard.
yeah,
Doing a
yeah,
million
that's
bucks. How
great.
about that?
That's great news. Spinal Tap, one of the funniest comedies, and also one of the subject of one of the greatest lawsuits of that
Is that
that
right?
yeah they've been suing. I forget how that but it's been going on forever. They they apparently the original
Backers of the movie or something?
team got nothing. The cast and everything got
Ah,
almost nothing
interesting.
from this, and throughout the years when they've said, well, do we get paid now? It's doing all this, and they say, no, we're not quite above,
Still in the play.
we're
Okay.
still underwater. Anyway, but they made $1 million this weekend.
Yeah, a
They
little re-release here, but it was so funny because back to the box office, and obviously it's a cult, lore. The brand of Spinal Tap is so huge, but it only made, I mean, but I mean, made about like $5 million in the box office when it came out. This was
uh,
not a large, theatrical hit, and so granted, DVD, and I think it had a lot of a lot of
yeah.
money coming in down the line of those lines, but it was not a theatrical blockbuster movie in a sense.
Well, the five
So
five million in '80s money
yeah, and maybe
was
yeah,
not.
I don't know. It'd probably be 15 or something like that today, maybe. I don't even know. But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
so
well,
it was still not amazing of like, oh my God, it was the movie of the summer. Like, again, it had that cultish thing to it, but I was like, oh, I was just was doing the breakdown. I'm like, oh, it only made, about 5 million in its original run, according
yeah.
to the numbers website. But yeah, yeah. So
Uh, Materialist has made
oh yeah, sure.
33 million domestic, which I don't, we've talked about the kind of deceptive advertising on that.
Richard was very upset about the comedy levels in the movies. That was
Yeah,
my
yeah,
takeaway on that one, I believe. Yeah, yeah. The
yeah.
jokes weren't as
Well,
up there for you.
I'm upset about someone trying to. It's hard enough to get the comedy genre resuscitated
Oh, I
without
see. I see.
these sort of
Okay.
gloomy little chamber pieces pretending
Right.
to be comedies.
Okay.
doesn't
Doesn't
help
help
what we're
anybody's
doing.
cause. Okay.
But it shows that under certain circumstances, not quite sure what the circumstances are, but a little independent film can make a little bit of money.
Yeah, I mean, 34 million, not bad. It's about the same amount that We Live in Time, the Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh movie last year, year before made. So, kind of that same, that was more of a little more of a weepy movie, but definitely more of a romance. So from A24. So interesting that both of those A24 films are topping out domestically around 35 million.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, not bad for a straightforward, again, not a rom-com broad four-quadrant movie. And
Now, think if it actually was what they sold it as. If it
well, we
actually
will.
was a rom com, where this could have
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Take a look at that.
Maybe we'll get one again. You never know, Richard. Stranger things have happened. So
Yeah.
TBA on that.
So coming up now, so here's the big one next weekend. All the marbles
All the marbles. This is your movie this summer, right, Richard?
it was on my top three
So, top
predictions.
three. Yeah.
I had what did I have? I had Lilo number
We both had
one,
Lilo. Yeah.
and then I had MI8 or whatever it is, 9,
Right.
and
Mission
and then
Impossible. Yeah.
and then I had
Superman.
then I had Superman,
All
and
right.
I continue to feel good vibes about it based on very little, but I continue to think it looks different than other things that are out there, and it has kind of an original positive energy to it.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how you define that, but I think it has a real director behind it who.
hmm
Uh, so I don't know. Well, I'm seeing it tonight, so
Oh, you are
I'll let you
seeing it.
know.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. Warner didn't invite me to this one. Huh? Warner Brothers. Come on, what's going on? I don't get to see it. So the critics reviews, I think they drop
No,
on Wednesday or no.
yeah. So they had this incident this weekend where this one critic broke the embargo, and
Oh,
Twitter with a very negative review, and Twitter
okay.
went crazy, and then unearthed that he's I forget where he writes for, but that critic is a heavy Zack Snyder partisan,
Oh, okay.
not revealed
Interesting.
in the
Wow.
so
All
has
right.
a lot invested in tearing that down. So
Okay.
that was a big Twitter fight, film Twitter fight this weekend.
I see.
Uh,
I missed this. So the things I missed out on by
and it
going
shows
outside.
you how inconsequential all that film Twitter
And
and because I think the social embargo lifts today,
I think it's
and
like socials today and critics are Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I think by middle of the day tomorrow,
Yeah.
anyone who had any awareness of that, it will just be like a tsunami has
Oh,
run over it. So
1000%. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, it comes out in the movie, refreshing, but I'm
yeah.
keeping a good thought. And this is the moment of truth. This is the big reboot of DC, Richard. It's finally here. It's been talked about for I don't know how long. It is here. So no matter what,
So
we will find out what's ahead. What did David Zaslav buy for DC? So there we go.
so okay, let's put your money where your mouth is.
All right.
Superman and Jurassic next weekend. What are the numbers?
Jurassic's 3 day was about 91 million. 3 day numbers here, generally speaking. So
So
if
if that falls off 55%, what?
yeah, we're talking about 40 million, 45. Yeah, about 40 million if you're gonna for Jurassic. If
Okay,
that's a 55% drop.
and then we're
I would probably. It could go a little further than that. I think. I don't. Again, I think you could convince me of that. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, Barbie did what 162. I think open to way back when.
yep.
I'm trying to think like the bangers here. So like over 3 days. So how high are
So where
the
yeah
Superman movies?
where do you see it coming?
Yeah.
So do you think
Uh,
so? What is the tracking number? I'm sorry to ask that,
I
but
saw no, I know that's why I had my head as at 120, 130. Let me see if I have any. But that was earlier, so I don't know. I
just
haven't seen.
not believing in tracking as the bar to beat, but just sort of looking at a median to give us an
Yeah.
over under
Tracking
on.
is anywhere from 90 to 125, according to Reddit. Anywhere to one, maybe up to 135.
All right,
So
let's call it 105 million.
for the media, all right. All right. No,
Yeah,
for the break for the over under.
yeah.
Oh, I'll take over. I would probably put it more. If you're gonna go real over under on this, I would say let's go 110. Let's go 110 on
Well,
there.
so $110 million opening. That's a significant hit if that comes
That's
in
pretty
like that.
good. That's pretty good. That would,
Um,
again, top Jurassic if
yeah.
of the 3-day opening.
I
So
mean,
also has
we'll
the
see where it
IMAX.
goes from there, but
Yeah.
that's a big start to a movie.
Yes. This isn't a dud of people don't want to see this, which I think was a legitimate question at some point during the evolution.
Yeah, I
So
mean, what did Thunderbolts open at?
I think it was 75 somewhere in there, somewhere.
Okay,
I'll check that. But
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, if you're talking about Marvel or I mean, obviously this Superman franchise mixed record theatrically at best. So again, to see this level of like interest still of like we'd like to see this work is heartening. And I think that I hope it shows up that way because that's what I take away from that is that there's always that Batman's the only thing that people care about in DC, blah blah blah. So I think Superman can do this kind of thing and that revive that life into it, Richard. That does a lot
yeah.
there. At Warner Brothers in DC. So
I mean, when was the last time a solo Superman movie was a hit? The 80s?
I mean, if you're looking to put there was 4 movies in the 80s, yeah, you'd have to. I mean, Superman Returns was your best Brandon Routh movie, whatever that was. That's the only real
Yeah.
other one that was really kind of other thing. Yeah,
So
otherwise it was
so
all
when was
Batman
that?
versus Superman.
Superman Returns, that
2000,
15 years ago?
but 20 probably at this point, I think. Yeah,
So
somewhere mid 2000s. So
so
yeah,
that's probably the last solo unqualified success.
2006. Yep,
Yeah, there. So
yep.
all right, so it's a good gap. Anyway,
Yeah. All right.
we'll see. We should get to it. We got movies to watch. We will be back next week with the truth will be known.
We'll be on the record. So yeah, exactly. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for the comments as always. You can reach us in our inboxes and on Substack and all that fun stuff. Richard, you're going to slack me your review. I want your review tomorrow. You better tell me what you think for Superman. So
I will let you know.
all right.
But keep an eye on the super buffet also. So
I expect a full review of the whole experience. So yes, let me know.
all right.
All
Talk to you
right.
soon.
Thanks, everybody. Take
Bye.
care.